What is a woman? This has become a favourite question of the political right. They made a documentary about it. They have asked countless politicians this question. Many right-wingers copy and paste this question as their go-to response. Like mindless bots, they repeat it again and again. They like this question because it relates to transgenderism, a subject that they have an unhealthy obsession with. The right-wingers argue that a woman is simply an adult human female, a biological category. They ask what is a woman, hoping to get one of two answers. Either you give this answer and exclude transgender people, or you give a convoluted reply and they mock you for it. This is not a genuine question. It is never uttered in good faith. It is a simple rhetorical point that has been dispersed top-down by right-wing propagandists online. Today I want to devote a small amount of time to this question. What is a woman? Of course, the intuitive answer is an adult human female, but think about it for just a moment. It makes no sense to regard woman as an exclusively biological category. Like most people, I know numerous women. I do not know what chromosomes or genitals they possess, but I recognize them as women nonetheless. Because woman is not simply a biological category. Woman is a social category. It is a label that comes with certain associations concerning identity, presentation, and behaviour. It is a label that comes with a certain social identity. It is more than just a biological category. I think that anyone acting in good faith can recognise that. And of course the same is true of the concept of a man. These are not simple biological categories. People's social identities, social expectations and associations are heavily integrated into these very complex ideas. I repeat, I know plenty of men and women. I don't know what genitals or chromosomes they possess, but I regard them as men or women regardless, because this is not an exclusively biological issue. Personal identity, presentation and behaviour also play a role in identifying these things. There is obviously a social aspect to what it means to be a man or a woman, and the right-wingers know this is the case. When they see a man in a dress, they will claim that they aren't a real man. If gender is just biology, this does not make any sense. But the right recognises that gender is about a lot more than just biology. They become incredibly obtuse on the transgender issue because being obtuse is the only way of justifying their mindless aversion to transgender people. And they try to treat this debate as a simple scientific issue. It is not. Many scientists recognise a distinction between sex and gender. Sex describes the biological side of things. Chromosomes, genitals, all of that kind of thing. Gender describes the social side of things. The social identity, the associations and expectations regarding presentation and behaviour. These concepts are very valuable, because there is undeniably a biological and a social element to these categories. Woman and female are not mere synonyms. Man and male are not mere synonyms. Why would we waste these terms as synonyms when we could break them apart to better grasp the complex world that we live in? Use one word to describe the social and the other to describe the biological. This enriches our understandings considerably. So what is a woman? The intuitive answer is an adult human female, but more accurately, we could say a woman is someone who identifies with a specific social archetype that is associated with the female sex. This is a potential definition. The disingenuous right-wingers regard it as madness when you contemplate this question for a prolonged period. But they do recognise that what it means to be a man or to be a woman is not all that simple. It is certainly not as simple as they like to pretend. We are talking about complex social ideas. Ideas that involve masses of behavioural expectations and associations, identities and archetypes. And as stated, the political right does recognise that this is a complex issue. They are perfectly happy to claim that people are not real men when their behaviour falls short of traditional standards. So obviously this is not simply a matter of biology. Gender issues are complicated, and we will all be better off when we accept that reality. Disingenuous gotcha questions are not helpful. The entire transgender issue is very frustrating. It has become a stupid culture war. The political right tries to direct contempt towards a marginalised group to distract from their disgusting anti-worker agenda. This is what they have been doing internationally. It is quite disgraceful. Transgender people are surrounded by this mindless moral panic. Any minority rights project will always have some individuals who take things too far, but the amount of attention and hostility faced by the transgender movement is truly ridiculous. Just look at Trump supporters. They go on and on about how transgender people are supposedly degenerate, and then they endorse Trump, a sex offender who was close friends with Jeffrey Epstein, the most notorious pedophile in recent history. It is embarrassing. And similar hypocrisy can be seen here. Some individuals on the political right in New Zealand are obsessed with transgender people. They fearmonger about grooming and child genital mutilation. Yet they have no interest in raising the age of consent and banning circumcision. If you actually want to protect children, these should be your policy priorities. I have myself repeatedly advocated these policies. But instead the Conservatives never mention these policies and ramble about transgenderism constantly, because it has nothing to do with protecting the vulnerable and everything to do with mindless, irrational hate. The transgender issue is a complex issue, especially the medical side of it. Issues like women's sports also raise serious questions. But we can't have reasonable conversations because hateful right-wing idiots have made good faith discourse impossible. Hate-driven morons have made it impossible to have a constructive conversation about these very important issues. Their bad faith rhetoric and hideous cruelty has made it impossible to talk about these issues in a considered and reasonable good faith fashion. Their vile prejudice has undermined the caution they pretend to promote. What should be a rational, considered issue has become a mindless, hate-filled cesspit, and the political right is largely to blame for this. So far, the political right has struggled to make this a mainstream cultural debate in New Zealand. New Zealand First has tried, with little success. And that is a good thing. The last thing we need is to be consumed by the culture war stupidity that has absorbed the United States.